So this is the time for you to surrender to Him so that you will be saved. Because He is in full control of all situations, of all things. Nothing is out of control with Him. Everything is under control. What He says will be, will be. What He says will not be, will not be. And you cannot force it. If you like, pray, fast. You can't change it. You can't change anything. I like to remind also that this time that He has come, He's not coming to die again. Oh. He's not coming to be sick. Oh. He's not coming to be exasperated. Oh. He's coming to gather all those who have surrendered to Him. All those who love Him more than anything else. All those obedient children of His. He is for you. He will be with you. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. God does His thing in His own good time. And that good time is now. If you obey Him, if you serve Him well, if you are an obedient child, He will never leave you alone. He will never leave you comfortless. He will be with you round the clock. He will never allow any temptation to overtake you. The temptation will come. The temptation will come. You cannot escape it. It's a test for you to see how much you love Him, how much you care. So do not think when you declare for God, temptation will run. Temptation will come. Because that is the true test. That is when you apply the patience. When you overcome, when you succeed, when that thing bows, He said He will give you a crown of life. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. All those who've been expecting Him, all those who have been waiting for Him, with all amount of steadfastness and truthfulness, today you are blessed. I said today you are blessed. Oh, that calamity you've been expecting is around the corner. And if you don't belong to the powerful remnant, forget it. The calamity coming is going to swallow you. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. He loves us without any charge. The things He does for us, free of charge. But you, when you pray for somebody now, you charge. You baptize somebody, oh, you charge. You give vision, oh, you charge. Whom are you working for? Are you sure you are saved? I didn't come to preach today. Today I came to bless. I came to bless you today. All the early birds, all those punctual children, all those obedient children. Today you are blessed. I say you are blessed. Oh. All your doors today, He has opened all your doors for you. Nothing is going to come against you. As long as you believe in Him, as long as you surrender to Him, your sickness is gone today. Your enemies, He has vanquished them. In the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Receive your blessing. Receive your blessing. Receive your blessing. Now and forevermore.
See on us all in brotherhood and in the entire universe. Give us the grace to obey you and love you and serve you. I beg you, oh Lord, I feel your love. I feel your love in my life. I feel your love in my life all about. I see your blessings all around me. I see many favors coming my way from you, Lord. I feel your presence all around me. I see your light. I see your light shining on me.
Lord, I was weak, heartbroken, your strength that made me strong again. I was down, you raised me up, and hungry, you fed me and set me on high.
Lord, I was blind, you restored my sight. Hopeless and helpless, you came to my rescue. Was lost in the world, you found me and remolded me. I feel your love. I feel your love in my life. I see. Shining on me.
I had turbulent nights and twisted dreams. Life was a mess and my hope was lost. You came to me and gave me hope and zeal to carry on. I was seen as a loser man, but I love you've made me a winner man. Day after day, they call me a minor case, but Lord, you made me a major case.
I feel your love.
You are a wonderful God.
I feel your love in my life. I see your light. I see your light shining on me.
The last time I made my research, Papa, you were my God. From age to age and time to time, you remain the same. I say the last time I checked and made my findings, Papa, you were my God. Yesterday, today, tomorrow, and forever, you remain the same.
I feel your love. I feel your love in my life. I see your light. I see your light shining on me.
Thank you, Father. Thank you, Father. Mighty Jesus Christ. I thank you, Father. Mighty Jesus Christ. His holiness. His holiness. Oh, no. The Christ of this new age. It's not the answer, it's not the answer, oh.
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
I tell you,
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
this is the truth.
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
World peace, world peace, world peace, Olumba is the answer. My God, Olumba is the answer. No matter the inventions, no matter the security, no matter the security, governmental law, no matter the government, we don't afford peace to ourselves, but only God, with the means of His kingdom, can bring peace to the world. I tell you,
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
of our truth.
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
I tell you,
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
astrologers, scientists, magicians cannot offer peace to you. Brother, can you hear me? Even the money you have in the bank cannot afford peace to you. The cars you have cannot afford peace to you. The houses you have afford peace to never afford peace to you. I mean the assets you have can never afford peace to you. Only Olumba can give you peace. I tell you,
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
of our truth,
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
of our truth.
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
Olumba is the answer to my problems and your problems. Olumba is the answer to my anger and your anger. Olumba is the answer to the conflicts of the world. There is war in the world. There is war in the world. Terrorism in the world. Natural disaster we have had happening in the world today. All the efforts of the prudence to bring peace to the world has failed. World peace, Olumba, Ubu is the answer. What you should know is that
World peace, Olumba is the
what peace, what peace, what peace, I tell you.
World peace, Olumba is the answer.
Of our truth.
World peace, Olumba.
And good evening to you out there, my beloved viewer. Thank you so much for staying tuned to the BCS Starcross Television. Today is another wonderful episode of the program Regnum Legal Viewpoint. Today we'll be talking a whole lot on the fundamental human rights. So if you know that you would learn a whole lot, do not go to anywhere. Stay with us, because today you get to learn, you get to educate yourself, you even get to educate others. So stay with us, because I have here in the studio wonderful guests, resource persons who will do justice to today's discussion. I am Irene Ulaito. Let's take a short break and we will be right back. Stay with us.
Ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of darkness into his marvelous light. Brotherhood of the Cross and Star, Universal Assembly of Brotherhood of the Cross and Star Priests celebrates the Holy Spirit Changeover Week and the Priesthood Workshop, an interactive forum with the theme, The Priest and His Duty of Sonship in Building of Olumba Supreme Temple. The slogan for the event is Royal Priesthood, a Holy Nation, a Peculiar People. The date is from Monday the 28th of June to Sunday the 4th of July 2021 at the Brotherhood of the Cross and Star World Headquarters, 34 Ambo Street, Calabar, Cross River State, Nigeria. Highlight of the event include official flag off by the Holy Father, daily morning prayers, corporate visitations, interactive session, Know Your Bible and quiz competition by states, lectures on various important topics, prison ministries, free medical outreach, inauguration of newly promoted Christ Ambassadors, Universal Council of Christ Ambassadors retreat and conclave, evangelism, open kitchen, divine procession, food exhibition, cooking competition by states, and finally the Holy Father's advice and blessings. For more information, please contact the Petra Christ Shepherd Sylvester Eboigbe, Chairman, International Organizing Committee on 08032858781 or Christ Ambassador Catherine Opia, Secretary, International Organizing Committee on 08034734961. Her Eminence Timi Digiteme, Chairman, Governing Board, Universal Assembly of Brotherhood of the Cross and Star Priest, Announcer. Thank you, Father.
When you want to poison us, we are standing on the rock that never fell, as they say.
Welcome back, beloved viewer, and thank you so much for joining us on the program Regnum Legal Viewpoints. Now let's get to meet our guests and we'll get to let you know the topic of discussion today. Right here in the studio is Father's beloved sons, and they're here to educate us more on today's topic. We have here Christ Ambassador Justice Ayako. Peace of the Father. Is a regular face. And today we have another wonderful son of the Father. Is none other than His Grace Brigadier General Solomon David. Peace of the Father, sir.
Perfect peace.
You're welcome to the studio today. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Stackless.
Okay, beloved viewer, today's topic is global perspective of fundamental human rights and military law. So, let's get to know about the fundamental human rights. What would you describe it? How would you explain it to a layman, someone who doesn't really know about these terminologies? How would you explain it? Let's hear from you, Justice.
Fundamental human rights can better be explained or described as natural laws.
Okay.
The rights that accrues naturally to human beings
Okay.
in existence. It's basically about one's own rights to be preserved just for human beings. If you say fundamental human rights. It has to do with the well-being of human beings. For instance, as a human being, I have the right to live.
Okay.
As a human being, I have the right of dignity. As a human being, I have the right of good shelter, good food, good health, freedom of expression. I also have the right to enjoy, to not be discriminated, to also enjoy privacy to the exclusion of any other.
Okay.
I also have the right of having information. These are basic rights agreeable to any living human being.
Interesting. Okay, that's good. Thank you very much. So, hearing of the word fundamental human rights, how did it come about? How did it come to be? How did it come to stay? Let's get to know the historical background of it, the origin of it. It's great, sir.
Fundamental human rights, meaning basic rights that are due to a human being.
Yeah.
After the Second World War,
Okay.
the international communities came together and decided that some things went wrong during the war, and so some rights need to be settled for humans. And the United Nations General Assembly on December 10, 1948, adopted these suggestions and made them as fundamental human rights. And all the countries that are recognized by the United Nations, there are about 251 countries in the world, but 195 are recognized by the United Nations. Out of these 195, 192 have ratified this, and they accept that they would go ahead and obey the human rights. So our local constitutions have also accepted them into their local laws, like our constitution has its fundamental human rights section.
Interesting. Okay. Thank you. Let's go ahead. So, CA Justice, this is for you. At what point can the fundamental human rights be considered as just not a moral obligation, but the instrumentality of the law?
The fundamental human rights is better titled as the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights.
Okay.
1948. It's an international treaty that member nations, those, when I say member nations, those nations, as Brigadier has rightly said, are members of the United Nations, came together to accept the treaties as a binding law for them.
Yeah.
For such international treaty to have its full force, the sovereign nations go back to their territories, their sovereign domains, to domesticate the international treaty called the Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, 1948. What do I mean by domesticate? They adopt it at the legislative level,
okay,
as a law. They pass it as a bill, and it is assented to by the heads of governments of those member nations. Immediately they do it. They don't alter in any way the treaty that was entered and resolutions reached that this law that we call the fundamental human rights will be binding on all member nations and their people.
Okay.
So you just lift the provisions of the international treaty and adopt it as your local laws, like in Nigeria under Chapter 4 of the 1999 Constitution as amended, has it with several provisions from section 33 up to 42
Okay.
the 1999 Constitution has the fundamental human rights clearly provided for and enshrined in the 1999 Nigerian Constitution as amended. So that is how nations adopt the international treaties as their laws in their various sovereign nations.
So how, let's talk about how implementable the rights are being, done, made in the members nation of UN. Let's have you, would you still take that?
Okay, yes. Okay. Once you domesticate that international treaty, it becomes law for the member nation. Implementation is as straightforward as the provisions of the laws have it. If the section 33, for instance, of the 1999 Constitution provides for freedom, right of life.
Okay.
Section 36 of the 1999 Constitution as amended provides for right to fair hearing, and other provisions 37, 38, even up to the point that you are guaranteed the right of expression, you are guaranteed the right of religion, worship, you have the right to believe, and all of that, the right of human dignity, the right of fair hearing, all of them put together constitute about over 30-something provisions that make up for fundamental human rights. Shelter, good health, good food. So it becomes law for any member nation, and the government must abide by the Constitution, because that's the ground norm. If the Constitution has provided for all of this under the fundamental human rights, it becomes incumbent on the executive arm of government to ensure that these laws are fully implemented. When I say these laws are fully implemented, it is the obligation of the executive arm of government to provide these adequate basic necessities of life. The executive arm of government is, by all ramifications, given the powers under the Constitution to ensure that they provide good health, life, protect life and properties, right to own movable and immovable properties. They are the executive arm of, in fact, the three tiers of government must comply with the provisions of the law, and that is how it is being implemented. Nobody is above the law, especially when it comes to constitutional law. Nobody is above the law.
Okay, so it's great. Is the fundamental human rights only declaration only applicable for civilians or all humans?
Thank you.
Okay.
It is not only applicable to civilians.
Okay.
Military men are also under the law. By the law of compacts, the military man is bound by two laws, civil law and military law. And when he travels out for a foreign mission, he's also bound by the international humanitarian law. If you commit a very grievous offense in the military, you could be court-martialed. The court-martial itself is recognized by the Constitution. Armed Forces Act, the laws of the Federation 2004. So the rights are also applicable to military men, but with several exceptions. That is the difference. For instance, when you talk about Section 33, it says the right to life, that every person has a right to life, and no one shall be deprived intentionally of his life. Now, the exception is that this rule will not apply when, for the purpose of suppressing a riot or mutiny or insurrection, if you die in the process, it is not a contravention. So as a military man, that right does not cover me in the operation of my duties. Also, section 34 is another exception. Right to dignity of human person, which states that no person shall be subject to torture or to inhuman or degrading treatment, held in slavery or servitude, and be required to perform forced or compulsory labor. The exception to this is that any labor required of members of the armed forces or the police in pursuance of their duties cannot be said to be contravention. Also, any labor required in the event of any emergency or calamity threatening the life or well-being of the community. If anything happens to you within that period, then it cannot be said to be a contravention.
So are these the fundamental rights that directly affects the military?
Yes, we're all bound by the same chapter 4 of the Constitution,
Okay.
sections 33 to 42. But while the civilian is given a blanket freedom, you have right to life, the military man is told, yes, you have right to life, but if in the process of performing your military duty, you are told to come out for internal security operations, insurrection, and quenching emergency problems, if in the process a stray bullet kills you, you cannot sue anybody. That is your calling.
Wow. God bless all of you out there. Okay, let's move on. So, how can the violations of the fundamental human rights be established?
The law simply provides for petitions. If your right is being violated in any form,
Okay.
you have to raise a petition amongst the amongst the security agencies. You know, the police is there, Nigerian police is there, the courts are also there. You can challenge it in courts.
Okay.
At the international level, one can also approach the United Nations General Assembly by way of petition. So at that level, even as an individual, you can complain by petition, accusing even a nation or a person or a group of persons who for no just cause had violated your fundamental human right. You have the right to protest, you have the right to petition, you have the right to challenge whoever has violated your right in this level.
Sorry, Justice.
Both individually.
You just said we have the right to protest.
Yes.
But if I recall vividly, in Nigeria here, precisely October 20th, 2020, last year, there was some, bullets shooting at, peaceful protesters at Lekki toll gate in Lagos. So when you say that individuals have the right to protest freely, peacefully, and then they're exercising their human right, and at exercising their human rights, they get killed. What would you say in this aspect?
Sincerely, the incident you referred to is quite regrettable. Lots of lives were lost, but I would rather not holding on to the government, so to say. Why did I say so is that even when the fundamental human rights guarantees lawful assembly, lawful protest, you have to be authorized in the first place to conduct a protest. in course of conducting that protest, you don't have the right to go violent. We all knew what happened nationwide, not just the Lekki toll gate shooting, not just the Lekki, for whatever reason why the Lagos state government ordered for that shooting and all of what the aftermath of that protest. I wasn't there as such, but I mean, it's the protest must get the approval of the government. You must apply by law that you're staging a peaceful protest. You're protesting and going around the streets should not in any way infringe on the other person's right of freedom of movement. So the government is there to balance these various fundamental human rights. You have the right to go on the street to protest. If I'm not part of that protest, I also have the fundamental right to move to any part of the country. So if you're protesting now prevents me from free movement, I mean, you are now creating an atmosphere of chaos, an atmosphere of anarchy, and if I decide to go violent, it will also amount to breaking down of law and order. So if for any reason people were killed, probably the decision taken by the police or the military at that point in time wasn't the right one. But if you had done that and people were killed, you can be held for genocide.
I would say that that doesn't justify the killing. What do you say to that? What do you have to say as a retired military personnel?
It is the duty of government to ensure protection of lives and property. So while you have your inalienable right for free assembly and free protest, peaceful protest, the government must also watch at the point when the protest will go violent. What if, like we heard, some hoodlums hijacked the protest, either sponsored or anyhow?
Yeah, that is what I wanted to say.
Good.
That we also hear that the hoodlums were sponsored by the same government. Pardon me, please.
Well,
Let's
these
go
are,
ahead.
these are all conjectures.
Okay.
We're not there to, and it's right to also say what you are sure of.
Yeah,
we're
yeah,
not
that's
sure
true,
who was
yeah.
sponsored, but we heard that at a point, while some people sat without arms on the road, others started being violent, and we're already breaking things down.
Yeah.
These are all what we read in the papers. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
So government also has a right to say, okay, just like he said, you are protesting and someone else is being affected.
Okay.
The roads were closed. People couldn't go to work. By that protest, they were affecting our own rights also. So the government has a right to protect both the weak and the strong.
Okay, let's go to the next question, and I'll direct it to you. So, the engagement process of military personnel includes the keeping of secrecy. Is that true?
Yes.
Can a personnel be held for divulging secret information under the freedom of expression?
As a military man, you are bound by the Official Secret Act 1962.
Okay.
If, for instance, military intelligence about war, about operations about the country is planned, it is your right, your duty to keep your mouth mum while that operation is ongoing. So the military man is recognized in such that he doesn't talk anyhow, he doesn't divulge secrets.
Okay.
While growing up, I was told the three people you can trust so much are the lawyer, the doctor, and the military man. That they will keep your secrets to themselves. So
Even die with it.
yes.
Oh,
So if,
wow.
for instance, I am captured
Okay.
and as a prisoner of war, and the torture starts from the enemy camp, asking me to divulge the location of my friendly troops, I would rather die with the information than divulge. because me going is better than the general public going. So I will not tell them where my colleagues are, even if they cut my head, my leg, everywhere, until they decide to let me go, or if they decide to take the life, so what? So you must learn to keep such secrets.
Wow, interesting. Okay, let's move on. Are there any prescribed punishments for violating the fundamental human right? Let's hear
Yes.
Justice.
Where there are laws, there are prescribed punishments for those who violate or offense the law. There are several provisions when you violate essentially the fundamental human rights against another person. Of course, you are prone to being exposed or put to trial in the criminal court of justice.
Okay.
Punishments are prescribed according to the laws, because human rights has this phrase: all human beings are born free and equal in dignity and rights.
Right. Okay.
So once you infringe on another person's fundamental human right, or for any reason you violate another person's fundamental human right, be it criminal or civil, you will be held liable in accordance with the offense, the particular offense you have committed. For taking one's life, which is a gross violation of the fundamental human rights, you cannot go scot-free. The criminal law, the long arm of the law will catch up with you, and you will be charged for criminal offense of murder, a capital offense. So the punishment, obviously, for most countries is sentencing one to death by hanging.
Wow.
That is when you take one's life unlawfully.
Okay, so you say the consequence, the punishment is sentencing the culprit to death by hanging.
Yes.
So why is it then different in the case of George Floyd, that a police officer brutally took his life, and even while he was saying, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, you know, there was no mercy. But in this case, the police officer is not sentenced to death by hanging. Why is it different? Or is it that the country, the US, does not also have this kind of law, and is it not the same punishment, you know, meted to culprits?
In the course of revolutionizing the global justice system, the United States of American government had advanced their legal system.
Okay.
In some states anyway, they don't recognize capital punishments for murder cases whereby one is exposed to also losing his life. And the George Floyd's case in that state, because that trial was done in the local courts in that state, and he wasn't even charged for first-degree murder. The police officer...
Is it because he's white?
No, they have their laws.
They bring in racism?
No, they have their laws.
Okay.
They have reduced death sentence. They have commuted or abrogated death sentence in that particular state. I can't remember the state for now, but in that state, I followed up the trial. I was watching from the television set, and I really observed that the punishment prescribed by law in that state is not by hanging. It's not death by hanging for committing murder.
Okay.
They did not charge him for first-degree murder. I think he was charged for second-degree murder, the police officer that killed George Floyd. And they went in accordance with the laws of the land. In Nigeria, the law says once you kill and you're charged for murder case, you will die by hanging. That's the punishment. Now, even when you kill in Nigeria, probably one has an accidental case. Somebody knocks down another, the person died as a result of the accident. He will not be charged for killing the person.
Okay.
That is the Nigerian scenario. That is the Nigerian legal system. The person that is involved in that accident that killed the other person, maybe by his reckless driving, will not be charged for murder. He or she will be charged for manslaughter. And once it is manslaughter, the punishment for manslaughter is life imprisonment. For George Floyd's case, the prescribed punishment for the police officer was 22.5 years or so. So the laws differs according to the jurisdiction you find yourself. In the United States of America, the criminal law adopted in a particular state like the New York or in Washington State, in Washington DC, in Florida, might be different. That is how advanced the United States of America legal system is.
So let's come back home to Nigeria. We've heard of some cases where a military personnel tortured a driver, maybe because it didn't drive well, it didn't observe the traffic. So, and in course of the torture, the person lost his life. So in this case, will the military personnel who meted that punishment on the civilian be punished, or what will be done?
Depends on how the military man was brought in. Did he just get up, catch a driver and start torturing the driver?
Yes, because he said the driver did not observe or obey the traffic light.
Okay. The laws of the land will take its course. He's bound by the civil law of the land. He has committed murder. By his torture, if he had tortured the man and the man didn't die, it would have been a foregone issue. But since life is involved, it will be reported, the police will arrest him, report him to his commander.
The police will arrest
yes,
a soldier?
Yes. And report him to the military commander. Okay. The military commander will assist with another military police and then act for Nigerian Army Legal Service, and then they will see how they can see to the case. If he's found guilty, he will be jailed, and any other thing can follow. You will be given a
not sentenced to death by hanging.
Whatever the law says.
Okay.
If he is not found to be directly involved, if it's because the man if it is proven legally that the man had a sickness before then, it will be said that he was not the one that killed him, but it's called secondary. So you charge him for manslaughter instead of murder.
Okay, thank you very much. So let us move on. Are there differences between fundamental human rights and the natural laws? Will you take that? Fundamental human rights and the natural laws.
The natural laws are inalienable rights that a human being should have. So the fundamental human rights just were derived from these natural laws. They're just about the same thing. The Bible tells you, thou shalt not kill. And the Constitution says you have right to life. If you kill, you'll be killed. So I think
the difference between natural law and the fundamental human right is the legality. Those natural laws passes through the process of legalizing the fundamental human rights and making it secular laws. It now has the backing of the legal system. That is just the difference. You know that you have the right to live in as much as you are alive. That is natural law. But once it goes through the process of legalizing that natural law, it becomes a right of its own.
Okay.
Now, if the government says you have the right to life, and somebody decides to take that life. The laws are there, it's legal, and they will go according to the laws. What is the prescribed punishment for offenders?
Also, okay.
So the difference is the legal process, or the legal process of the rights being enforced,
Okay.
or coming into force.
Okay.
It will be documented, like in the Constitution, the Criminal Code, in the Penal Code. So immediately that process is fulfilled, it becomes a legal document, distinct from the natural law that one will rely on.
Okay. Okay, beloved viewer, our phone lines are open. If you have any question or you want to contribute to this topic, please call us and share your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion as well. Our YouTube platform is there. If you have any question pertaining to this topic, or you have any experience in this topic, please do us the honor to send in your comments as well, or call us in. We're right here to, respond to you. Let us move on. As Grace, does the military justice system avails for reliance on natural laws?
No.
No.
It has already its own military laws that guides us.
Okay. It doesn't. Okay. All right. That's good. So let's move on. So, which court of law can serve as a trial court in cases of genocide or war crimes committed by the military?
That is the ICC,
Okay.
International Criminal Court,
Okay.
situated in Hague, in Switzerland. Once a military officer, be it serving or retired, is investigated for committing genocide, they will move that military personnel from his country
Oh wow.
to Switzerland in Hague to appear before the International Criminal Courts.
Okay.
So they have their proceedings, they have the lawyers, they have the judges that they pay. And the United Nations gather funds to sponsor the International Criminal Court.
Okay.
They pay the judges, they pay the staff, support staff, and ensure that the administration of that International Criminal Court runs on a day-to-day basis. So from time to time, not just the military personnel, if a president or a head of government of a nation, a member nation of the United Nations, choose to treat his or her own people in a way that lives were lost, so many lives were lost, petitions can be raised against such a head of state, and he will be brought to answer for an offense of genocide in the International Criminal Court in Hague.
Okay. Do you have something to add to that? Okay.
I can give you an instance.
Okay.
The former Ivorian president
Okay.
was charged for genocide and other offenses, related offenses, and recently he was discharged and acquitted of those offenses. So he came back last week or so to his country in a grand style with pomp and pageantry. The celebration was just massive for him. So that is a typical example of one who is charged for genocide. Lauren Gbagbo is his name, yes.
Okay. All right, so let's move on. What are the challenges confronting the armed forces personnel in enforcing fundamental human rights?
Those challenges, thank you, are like I mentioned, the exceptions. I think I read some of them. If you come to section 36, right to fair hearing, right to private and family life, whereby even in the court martial, you must give fair hearing to the soldier. If you do not, then you could be sued. At the end of the exercise of the court martial, the proceedings will be sent for review. And if the soldier is not comfortable the accused person. He will appeal and the case can be quashed. Then the other ones are if the soldiers do not know exceptions to the rule. Like if you get injured in a military operation, the system allows, even during training, for 5% casualty. Okay. If you are going into the military school or the defense academy, you sign that if you die in the process of training, you cannot sue anybody. So in that process, someone who is not aware could start making noise that he died, whereas you know that 5% casualty is allowed. Another one, freedom of thought.
But is there compensation to the family?
Oh, sure.
Oh, okay. Oh, sure. Okay.
No, if in the process of training, yes, 5% is allowed.
Like compensation to the family if the person passes on, unfortunately losses.
Of course, yes, there's compensation, but it's not as if you go and sue the government. Okay. Why did I die in the process? Because you signed, is what you signed for.
Okay.
Another one is the freedom of thought, conscience, and religion. Yes, you are allowed to have your religion, but you should not become radical and fanatical. In the military, you are allowed to have one mosque for Islam. You are allowed to have a military Protestant church and a military Catholic church. Even the white garment is not allowed in the barracks.
Interesting.
Yes, you are not allowed to wear a white garment within the barracks. So if you don't know that, you start making noise. Yes, freedom of worship, you go and do any other thing. No, it's not allowed. On Fridays, as children those days, you go to mosque. I do Padre Hour. On Sundays, you go to your church. So they allow you very well. Okay. But don't become radical.
Don't become radical.
Then the right to freedom of expression and the press.
Okay.
You cannot get up now and insult our president. He's commander-in-chief. Oh, the civilian can say he's clueless, he's old, he's stupid, in the name of freedom of expression. But the military man must not, because you are 100% loyal to the president, who is the commander-in-chief. So do not, because they say freedom of expression, open your mouth too wide. You will pay for it.
Interesting.
Then right to peaceful assembly, like he said.
Okay.
You are not allowed to gather. If you gather as civilians, even in military school, you are not allowed to gather and protest. But in ordinary secondary school, you can protest and they will call it riot. They will call our own mutiny. And that is court-martial offense. You could be shot. Then the right to freedom of movement. You cannot move anyhow as a military man. If you travel 100 kilometers without pass, that's official permit, then it is regarded as absence without official leave. And you'll be charged for it. So you must take permission even before you move. Like you on weekends, you on Friday can take off, go to Lagos, flex, come back Sunday evening, and go to work. You can't try that as a military.
Why are you using me as an example?
Okay.
Okay.
So
as a military personnel, you cannot go to anywhere without a pass or a permission.
Like if you're traveling like 100 kilometers, like you cannot just get off from here now and head to Lagos, but you want to go and do anything without your commander releasing you or approving your pass.
So what if you are on leave?
Oh, leave covers you for that period of days. Your leave can be for 30 days. For those 30 days, you are given a leave, and if you are sick, you branch to any medical unit, you'll be treated. So within that period, you can travel.
Anywhere.
Oh, with your leave, you can travel, but not outside the country, because you must still seek for security clearance. Okay. You can cross border anyhow, but the military man cannot cross border to the next country anyhow. We are special property.
Oh, interesting. I like that. A special property. Okay, that's good. So are you done?
Yes,
okay.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go ahead. What role does religion plays in preserving and upholding the sanctity of natural laws? Justice?
The religion plays a very important role, whether it influences the followers negatively or positively. It has a dual capacity of getting the radicalisms being very violent, those that are the extremists not minding the consequences, because they come under this provision of the fundamental human right that they have the rights of religion, they have the right of assembly, they have the right of worship and belief. They operate and feel that if you are not within their own religious belief system, then you are inferior. In fact, some religious organizations will even describe an unbeliever of their faith as infidels. That is the extent they go. It affects negatively. Those that are extremists don't even have room to accommodate any other belief system. That is the negative side of it. Okay. Some of the religious organizations even encourages.
Okay, please, sorry, let's take this call. Hello, good evening, and thank you so much for calling us. Please, what's your name and where are you calling from? Okay, Sister Gladys, peace of the Father. Thank you.
Special guest of honor and greetings to our Bishop Solomon and Christ Ambassador Justice Samuel. I actually want to say here that in so many places, in terms of what is going on in Cameroon, everything to rape, good men, good women and children, and so for nothing to do what has been on for so many years now. Right from so many people in Nigeria, this is the way soldiers were used on innocent souls. What happens is where everywhere people that had no God, just were used to pick up their life. So I thank God for this very special topic, and I know that our parents in the house I thank God about like that. In some cases where soldiers are used to well down riots or whatever problem, where situations that should not be done in such a way that blind people should be taken into cognizance when certain things have to be done. Because once the light is lit now, the light is gone. So I thank you so much for this very topic of the unique one. God bless you.
Amen. Thank you very much, Sister Gladys. Father bless you for calling us in. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so Sister Gladys just brought up a very important issue about Cameroon. We've been hearing of war here, killing, raping, killing children, women as well. What is the international nations, the United Nations doing about this? Or is it not high time for them to come in and salvage the situation? Or are they not permitted to, intrude, to come in to, arrest the situation? Let's hear you, sir.
It's rather a sad one. As a sovereign nation, Cameroon, the Republic of Cameroon, had been in this kind of situation for quite a long time, as observed by Sister Gladys, Divine Vanguard Gladys in the United States of America. It's quite worrisome because the country called Cameroon shares border with Nigeria. The international community would they will only engage the people on dialogue. They will hardly come in to impose any law or compel the people to live in peace. But what the international community is waiting for, if the president is no longer there, if the army serving chief of staff of various arms of government, armed forces in Republic of Cameroon are fueling this kind of genocide. I'll call it genocide because a lot of people had lost their lives in the past, and even currently. If there are people that the Cameroonians can petition against that are responsible for the killings of their own people, then the International Criminal Court will invite those people, will ensure that they bring them to justice. At the moment, the government probably will not even accept that there is so much going on, so much killing, discrimination, rape, crimes against humanity that had prolonged and even deterred the progress of the country. We're watching, and I'm sure the international community is also watching. Let us see how it goes, because they are in the process of electionary campaign currently in Cameroon. If there is a change of government, probably it will give room for probing into the cause, the remote and immediate cause of this crisis that had prolonged for so long in that country.
But can the president call in for the international nations to come in to assist? Can he?
He cannot. It depends on the constitution of the country.
Okay.
If it's not capable of handling the crisis. So far he has not shown any form of weakness on the part of the armed forces, because the armed forces duty anywhere in the world is to protect the territorial integrity of their nation. So if the armed forces in Republic of Cameroon is not able to protect the territorial integrity of that nation, it's likely they can invite the international community to come to their aid. But I'm not sure if that is the situation currently. Okay. There are some insurgencies, there are some secession groups that are rearing up in Republic of Cameroon, calling for the separation of or division of the country. They are asking for their own sovereign nations, and it's creating a lot of crisis in that nation. And that is the true position of it. People don't just wake up and start killing. Once you begin to ask for your own independence as a group, as a region, and the government of the day is not conceding to your request, they apply reasonable force, which probably had led to loss of lives and properties. I think that is the situation in Republic of Cameroon.
Okay, let us briefly take some. You have something to add to that?
Yeah, I
okay,
let's say that also. The United Nations is emboldened with so much problems all over the world. So they actually are encouraging regional forces. And that is why Nigeria had to form ECOMOG and go to Liberia, Sierra Leone to help sort out their problems before the United Nations came to take over. So perhaps the African Union, ECOWAS, okay, Cameroon is not under ECOWAS, African Union could also come in and ask, after seeking if they would need assistance, say, okay, let's go in, because like you said, Cameroon is a sovereign nation. You cannot just carry your arms and enter that you want to solve their problem. They have not told you that they are unable to handle
any
it.
assistance,
So that's another thing. Besides, Africans should be able to take initiative and start solving their problems first before allowing the other people to come in. They have their own problems too in the other parts of the world.
Okay, thank you very much. So before we go ahead, let's take some comments here on YouTube. We have first here, Gladys Oyebo says, nice to be here today. Kudos to Starcross TV, the best religious TV station worldwide. Special greetings to our unique learned guest speakers. Nice to have you here today. The program is becoming more interesting and educative. We have a Blessing Benedict says, perfect peace all. We have Amen Tom here on today's program says, fundamental human rights of people all over the world has been abused very rapidly in the past 1 year. God save us. Truly, God save us. Thank you, Brother Emem Tom. Susan George is here, says, perfect peace of the Father are humble and learned brethren. We need this lecture now than ever. Father bless you all. Thank you very much, Sister Susan George. Gladys Oyobo again says, wonderful topic indeed. Well done, our dear beloved presenter, Sister Irene Ulaito. Enjoying the program, no be small. Kudos to Starcross TV for keeping us abreast of events and issues around the world. Thank you very much. So let us move on to the next question. Why is it that some men and officers of the armed forces on mission in a bid to preserve their lives abscond but are charged for committing military offenses?
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah,
question.
very interesting, I know, right? Yeah.
One of the ways you can be charged under the court martial is by cowardice, desertion, aiding and abetting the enemy. That is court martial. You have been found to be a coward. The military man is so trained that even when he runs out of ammunitions, he's taught martial arts, boxing, kung fu, judo. That's why in the defense academy, you do what they call novice boxing. They just bring raw people who are not professional boxers and tell them to start boxing, to give you that confidence that even when you run out of arms, you can still engage your enemy. However, if an armed robber is standing in front of me and I'm a soldier, he's an armed robber with gun, and I have no gun, he is the soldier.
Okay.
So if you send me to the war front and logistics win war, and you do not provide enough logistics for me, you give me ammunitions that I will expend within seconds, and my enemy is coming with barrage of bullets and firing, I will not use my chest to block those bullets. I'm supposed to lie low, aim, and bring him down. I did not sign to die for my country. I signed to make other people die for their own country. So if you give me a 1960 weapon and my enemy has a 2021 weapon,
okay,
and my own is having blockages and stoppages, and it was risking my life, then you are not a good leader to send me forward. So if the soldier has seen that he has expended his ammunition and he has called for reinforcement and it is not forthcoming, my sister, I will scram. When they catch me, we'll speak the grammar. Because it is poor leadership to send people to the front without adequate weapons.
So you say you will run for your life?
I will fight, I will scamper. Because he who fights and runs away lives to fight again. By the time one riffraff who is not better trained brings you down, sometimes they cut your head off, cut your tongue, and fanatics use it to practice surgery. Then you want me to sit down. The army has spent so much to train me. I cannot carry my life and go and give to people. Like
so, but you're as a military, your primary duty is to protect life and property, even if it means giving your life for it.
That's what I'm telling you.
So why would you run in the war front and allow your enemy to invade your country and then, you know, kill the citizens? Meanwhile, you're supposed to be there to protect them, to give your life for your country.
Like I said, I will say it a second time, repetition strengthens memory. No military man signs to die for his country. He signs to make the other man die for his country. And you cannot use catapult to fight with AK-47. So you who has made war, you have given permission that the soldiers should go and fight, from the top commander to the lowest. And you move. One platoon prepare to advance, and we move. And you do not give me enough preparation for battle. There are stages. You give enough arms, logistics, food, fuel, ammunitions, so that the people are there. If, for instance, we are going to capture a battalion, we cannot go with a company. We go with a brigade. The firepower of brigade is stronger than that of a battalion. When they fire, pam, 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 and we fire, their morale will be low. And you see yourself, you'll be happy that the enemies will be running back. But not that you are firing, you look at your neighbor, he has been killed, you turn to the right, you don't have ammunition, and then you raise your hand and say, come and kill me, I signed to die for my country. No, nowhere in the world is that accepted. So the people should not court-martial anybody for running, because it is they who failed. If the man is running with full ammunition, then he could be charged for cowardice. But if he has run out of ammunition, you have no right under the sun to go and court-martial him for cowardice. Instead, you, who did not plan well before sending him to the front, should be sentenced to death. Yes.
Wow. But we don't see that happening in Nigeria, our country, our motherland. We don't see that happening. Oh my God. Okay, let us move on. So, so is reliance on fundamental human rights not enough to free an erring officer? Justice?
Reliance on
fundamental human rights not enough to free an erring officer?
Of course it is.
Okay.
Like for every law that is in the civil section, is also in the military section.
Okay.
So they tell you right to life, yes, you have that. And if you commit an offense, for instance, the head of Star Cross can come here now and say, nobody should touch this table. In this organization, that is a law. If you contravene that law, you can be punished. If it is in the military, the commander can come, nobody should say PIM. If you say PIM, it's not a written law. It's a particular law. It's oral and it's a law. By the time you obey, they charge you for disobedience to a particular order. You could be charged also for conduct to the prejudice of service discipline. You could be charged for disobedience to standing orders. If these are brought against you, you cannot quote human rights. Just like I said, the other exceptions to the human rights rules. So our laws stand, and you know it. If you misbehave, you are punished.
Okay, you
wanted to say. One can also rely, a military personnel, a soldier can also rely solely on fundamental human rights. He has given us a leeway to understand that once you're not adequately prepared at the war front, you have the right to even run away,
to retreat, yeah.
to save your life. That is one aspect of reliance on fundamental human rights. I have the right to live. Then also, once your health status is down, and you say you cannot, based on your health condition, you are not healthy enough to go to the war front. I mean, you have the right to be given adequate good health care. That is one aspect of the fundamental human right that you can rely on. If for any reason one is charged for any of the military offenses and he has good cause to rely on any of the provisions of the fundamental human right, he can do that, except for certain exceptions that would not avail you any good defense.
Okay, you want to say something?
Yes, on the issue of ill health. If a soldier is sick and does not report sick, when he's expected in his duty post and is not there, he will be charged for malingering. Even when it is physically seen that you are bleeding and you are sick, you are bound to go and report to the medical officer that I have such and such a problem. Then you'll be given excuse duty. If you do not collect such an excuse, you will carry that ill health and do the military job, and you cannot quote fundamental human rights, because not reporting sick is an offense.
Not reporting sick is an offense to a military personnel.
Yes.
Okay, all right, let's move on. But first, let's take some comments here. Gladys Oyebo says, nice to have you here on board, Archbishop General David Solomon. Special greetings to our learned friends here, Barrister Justice Ahiakwo. Happy weekend to you all. Well done to the crew members backstage. She has a question for you. She says, my question goes to Archbishop General David Solomon. General Solomon David. She says, kindly let us know why our so-called superpowers go out of their ways to poke nose into the affairs of some weak countries and then lie low with the affairs that has to do with their country.
It has to do with politics and poverty.
Politics and
They give you the carrots, they come with some things for you, and you'll be happy, and they invade your privacy, invade your sovereignty, and on their own side they can't do nothing. If we govern ourselves well, politically, whatever system of politics we want to use, the so-called bigger nations will be scared to enter our nations, whereas called small, and do whatever they like. So if you don't invite a fly to your house, it will not come. That is it. So it is from inside the so-called small countries that they see the weaknesses therein and the sabotage therein, that they can come in and do whatever they want and go out.
Okay. Okay.
I hope I have answered that.
Okay, another comment here from Clinton NM says, good evening to you all in the studio. I'm grateful for this human rights topic, but why many know the truth and refuse to tell the truth? God help us all. Okay, thank you for your comments. Lastly, as parting words, what is your advice to our viewer out there who is either a serving military personnel or one intending to be enrolled into the armed forces? It's Grace, you go first.
Okay. My advice, for instance, while I was still serving, I had a lot of civilians who came in to join the military, and I always sat down to tell them what they will face in the military. It is not all about wearing the uniform and being given the salute. Military wedding is one of the most colorful. It's not that. Mm-hmm. The military band is sweet to listen to. It's not all that. It's the fact that one bullet can send you to the great beyond. It's the fact that you have no right to stand and be screaming, because you can be moved to north, south, east, and west at the will of the nation.
At any point
you can
time.
be moved when they say right to life. You can be moved to quench insurrection, and one bullet will take you. While you are going there, you must be found to be physically fit, medically fit, psychologically fit. Because some young boys take drugs, and so when you go for a recruitment or commissioning, you'll be tested. Our psychologists and psychiatrists in the military will check you to make sure that you are not on drugs. Some people come to join the military because they said a military man harassed their father, so they want to go and revenge. You will not last. If you come with that mind, you will not last. So submit yourself totally to servicing the nation. If you are coming to join the military, forget enjoyment. If you come in that you have just come for service, and that you are not going to raise alarm and make noise about human rights, if you know that 5% casualty is allowed even if you go for ordinary training, by 5% casualty, I mean if 100 people go for training, 5 can die. Normal. If you know that, and you keep yourself healthy. If you have flat foot, don't go there. If you have protruded navel, that is called umbilical hernia, don't go there. So they count things for you. Your fingers must be complete, teeth complete, eyesight fine, you know. So these are the things they look for, a perfect and healthy person before you go in to join the military. And do not rely on human rights, because even during your training, when you are told jump into that gutter, if you're a human rights fighter, you say, me, a whole fine boy like me, should I enter gutter? They'll first break your willpower. Okay. And you jump in that gutter and come out dirty. So that when they say stand there, you are nothing, say yes, I am nothing. So that when they tell you move, you move. Okay. And they flog you. So that when enemies catch you as prisoner of war, the flogging will be nothing, because you have already been flogged during training. I see people grumbling that they're flogging people during training. Is this
also applicable
to
female?
Yes, to toughen you, male or female, toughen you up so that you can stand under the sun. You know, if you have flat foot, you cannot stand for long because the circulation will be affected and you can fall flat. So they make sure you don't have flat foot. Sometimes people go in and come out, I passed the exam, they didn't take me. Did they check your flat foot? You could have inguinal hernia, umbilical hernia. You could have so many other things.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Your last words, please.
The simple reason that you don't know the rules or laws governing, guiding, regulating the armed forces, the military, gives one a common knowledge that you are not ready for such a professional service or calling you intend to. So my parting word is simply to those who intend to go into the armed forces by way of recruitment, short service, to become senior officers through the NDLA, the academic, as advanced training from the academics. You just have to have this passion in you. Passion drives the desire to serve the nation. Once the passion is not there, it cannot replace passion for daily bread. You cannot replace passion for daily bread. So for you to sojourn into the military, of course you have to do a lot of research, study, so that you are not given to, I have this fundamental right to certain basic things that nature has availed me. You definitely have to sacrifice for those things to become a military personnel.
Okay, thank you very, very much, Christ Ambassador Justice Ahiakwa. Thank you very much, His Grace Archbishop Solomon David, Brigadier General, retired. Thank you very much for coming to talk to us. Thank you so much for this wonderful educative topic and doing justice to it and educating us all. Father bless you. Thank you. And to you out there, our beloved viewer, thank you very much for staying tuned to the program. Join us again, same time next week, same day, on another wonderful topic, another wonderful session. I am Irene Ulaito. Do have a wonderful and blessed weekend ahead. Bye-bye.